Welcome to the Lazaro Lab. I'm Ryan Lazaro.
And I'm Matt Lazaro.
And today we have a special guest, Paul Lopez. Welcome.
Thank you.
Not to be confused with George Lopez.
There you go.
Or Jennifer Lopez.
I don't know. He's looking pretty sexy today, so I thought he was going to come in with no shirt or something, man. Almost. But so, Paul, thanks for coming.
Yes, my pleasure. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I know you're extremely busy now. I mean, you've always been busy since I've known you, but you're like really, really busy now.
Yeah.
So, I'll give people a little bit of background on us. I've known you for, an extremely long time now, I feel like.
Since 2012.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Damn, I didn't even realize it was that long. So when you met me, you came looking for some nutritional guidance, because I think you got into lifting weights and stuff and all of that, and got you lean and mean, right?
Yes.
So let's dive into that. We'll start there, and there's a lot to know about Paul. He has an incredible story that we're going to go over that and to where he's at now. Like, it's pretty exciting, So kind of let everyone know kind of how you found your way to meet me, and kind of that backstory, I guess.
Yeah. Well, in 2012, it was a pretty dark time in my life, actually. And I had gone through a divorce about a year prior. And when I went through that divorce, I started drinking, actually, and to numb myself and to get through that process. And in 2012, I had decided enough was enough and it was time to make some changes in my life. So I quit drinking and got some help to overcome that challenge. And it was a good choice for me. But I felt like I needed something more. And that's when I found my way to the gym. And, I had a lot of aspirations, but I realized I needed a trainer to be successful and to try and make it through, being successful with working out in the gym. And shortly thereafter, I realized, like, hey, this is just a part of it, and I'm probably going to need some help with the nutrition piece. And actually, backing up a little bit, what happened was I was putting some goals together, and I believe I was looking through a magazine, working on my, just trying to create a vision of what I wanted. And I saw this guy with a physique, and I'm like, hey, I want to look like that. Yeah. And that's actually when I learned about your program from another gentleman who was in the gym who you were training to compete.
Oh, yeah.
Which, if you remember, yeah.
Yeah, I do now, yeah.
And so I got in contact with you, and you, gladly accepted me and put a plan together. That's where it began.
Yeah, man. I remember you were pretty gung ho in the beginning. I mean, you've always been pretty gung ho this whole time.
Yeah. Make me look like him.
Yeah. Did you bring the magazine in?
I don't think I brought the magazine in.
You're like, I have this picture of this hot guy on the wall.
Yeah, if I go back on my picture scroll, I probably have it in there somewhere. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of people benefit from having this to visualize those things, right? Yeah.
Well, I see people on their treadmills, and they have pictures of people they want to look like. I hope.
You sure that's what they're looking at for?
Or they're watching videos. I don't know.
What kind of videos?
Whatever motivates you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'm always a firm believer, if you write it down and you put it on a vision board, for example. Sometimes I'll put a goal together, or I'll share it with somebody, and they'll ask me about my goal. And usually my response is, well, I wrote it down.
Yeah.
And if I write it down, typically it'll come to pass.
Yeah.
You're going to get it done.
You're going to get it done.
Yeah, I do find that pretty useful with a lot of my clients. So you, when you were training back then, I mean, how lean did we get you? Your abs and stuff were coming in, huh?
Yeah, we got down to around 8 or 9% body fat. Yeah. and what I loved about it was I felt and looked great. I mean, yeah, I see some people shrink down and it doesn't look healthy or what have you.
Yeah.
But yeah, in this particular case, I think I was looking the best of my life at 8-9% body fat.
Yeah, man. And it's the interesting thing was, over the years I got to see you grow, and your career started taking off.
Oh yeah. So just by making that, well, the mental and the physical and the entire commitment to the training regimen, it just really overflowed into all areas of my life. Not just by the discipline, but it gave me a place to go when things got tough.
Yeah.
Okay. So like when my day got tough, I always knew that I was going to end my day at the gym. So no matter what pain and suffering I was going through during the day, I'm going to end up at the gym, and probably that's going to take all the problems away for that day.
Yeah.
Create some more pain and suffering.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
You're going to be too fatigued to do anything else or think.
Yeah, I think exercise is it prevents me from doing stupid things.
Yeah.
Too tired to do anything else.
It's not worth it.
I'm like,
go home and eat.
I'm too tired to be mad. So overall, like, kind of give people an understanding of. I mean, it was quite a big difference. Give people kind of a more in depth, or however in depth you want to get about that. Like how bad things were to where they're at, where they got.
Well,
now, I guess you say.
Okay, so when I started in 2012 in the gym with you, Matt, and well, first of all, I'd have to go back and say that just the nutrition itself had so much help on not only my physical but mental state of mind. When I first came into the gym, like I said, there were dark days, and I remember that my affirmation that I used to tell myself was, I want to die. Okay, so when things got tough, it was like, I want to die, I want to die, I want to die. And that was my affirmation. But when 2012, when things started to shift for me, I remember one day sitting in a meeting, and somebody had said that they had made some positive changes in their life because they wanted to not have any bad days. And so they said, no bad days. And I listened to that, and I thought about that, and I said, hey, why not adopt that affirmation?
Yeah.
No bad days. So that became one of my affirmations. And also, instead of saying that I wanted to die, I changed it to, I love my life.
That's a pretty big
That's
difference.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah. So when things started getting a little bit tough, I would say I love my life. And when anxiety would pop up or whatever would pop up, I love my life. And sitting back in another meeting, somebody had said one time, we're all going to die. And I was like, I don't want to die.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, and so probably within, making some pretty radical changes from health and nutrition to, quitting drinking and things like that, my life started to turn around where I want to live, and everything started to change from the way that I appeared. I remember probably within, actually, Matt, if you recall, in 2012, I competed in this 90-day transformation.
I do. Yeah, you did that at the gym you were training at.
Yeah,
right?
World Gym.
Yeah.
World Gym in Tracy.
Yep.
We did a 90-day transformation, and I ended up winning that contest.
I do remember that.
Yeah. And 90 days, it was hell. And then then I remember Matt saying, "Hey, when you before the last day, go eat a couple baskets of fries from In-N-Out," and went and took some pictures. And
oh yeah, the day to make you to get you to fill out. Yeah,
to get me to fill out. Yeah.
It worked.
It worked. Yeah.
It was all vascular and everything.
Yeah.
You put a little too much baby oil on though. No, he didn't use baby oil. It was Pam.
Yeah, that's what I use.
That's what Ryan used. I remember getting him ready for a show and
Trying to get the Pam.
you got the Pam because that's what they were doing back then. Like this was like,
I'd be like, okay, drink a glass of wine now. I
you were
don't
16.
think I did that, but I don't remember. Maybe I did.
Weren't you 16?
17.
17? Yeah.
They would drink some type of alcohol.
We didn't have alcohol though. Otherwise, I probably would have made him do it.
Drunk on
You're all
stage.
drunk hey, when you're dehydrated, you definitely be drunk on stage. So let me back things up a tad, because that first affirmation you were talking about, that's dark, man.
Yeah.
You were definitely in a bad spot then.
It was a dark place in my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
A place that I never thought I'd be, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's important to understand that it's possible to happen to any one of us, right? But the beauty about it right now, it's just like you still made it a choice to
turn it around.
To turn it around, essentially.
Yeah, and I think as you're talking about it, the difference between then and now is back in 2012, I started to surround myself with a whole different group of people. You know, and many of times, Matt, if you recall, on our weigh-ins and our tag-ins, you'd ask me, how'd your week go? And I would tell you, and you turned out to be a friend. And we talk about it, and it's almost like these were like coach, not just nutrition coaching, but kind of some life coaching stuff in those sessions we had. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's funny thinking about thinking that far back. I'm like, how did I even have any life experience in 2012?
Don't tell me that.
No, I'm saying compared to now. Compared to now, that's all. Like, so I was just making everything up, Paul. No.
Turned out good though.
I was not faking it, trust me. Well, you know, it's funny because I think some of the things I shared with you, and probably a number of people anyways, it's not that I've had a hard life. It's just, you know, when you do a lot, you experience a lot. And then when you force yourself to experience a lot and go through things, it's like, it's useful to share it with others.
Well, you read a lot too.
I do.
Yeah, you really get into the books.
Yeah, that especially back then, I remember, and this is before even audiobooks were really huge, because once I got a hold of audiobooks, it was like, you know, 1 or 2 books a week. But because reading, it was
you had a hard time with reading.
You want to take a reading exam, Ryan?
Better than my math.
Oh man, no, but that, you know, I was one of the ones that it was real tough to read something sometimes. Just got too bored, eyes got tired. But yeah, so and then that's the thing. It's just being able to share life experiences with others, and you know, I know you do a lot of that now yourself.
Yeah. So back then, it first started with the gym. I got a trainer in the gym, and then I met you for the nutrition piece of it. And then in 2014, in the real estate business, I'd been in real estate since 2001.
Wow.
And yeah, so in 2014, I got burned out with real estate. It was I was working transaction by transaction. And back in the day, and when internet was becoming one of the primary sources for lead generation, I would get a lot of my clients from online lead sources. I won't name any of them to give them any credit today, but there was a number of online lead sources that I was getting those from. And the thing about getting these leads offline is you have to build a relationship with them pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that rat race where you kind of burn and churn through them. And I was good at getting them through the transaction, but then after, it's such an emotional process that you're glad to shake hands and part ways. It's like, hey, I got you in the home. I took care of the transaction. You know, good luck, and I'll be in touch.
Maybe 10 years, hit me up again.
So in 2014, I got burned out, and but I didn't have any marketable skills. Couldn't go to any other industry. Nobody's going to hire me after being out of the workforce for 15 years.
Unemployable, right?
Unemployable. And so I decided to get a coach in the real estate business, and actually got a great business coach, and that started to turn things around for me, where as opposed to working by transaction, I started working by relationship, and eventually 100% by referral, where don't pay for any lead generation whatsoever, and really just go deeper with each relationship. And that there also was a big turnaround point for my life as well, because I was able to start building great relationships with my clientele.
Connect and bond.
Yeah, connect and bond. And now, instead of calling these people online, I'm calling the people that actually like me.
Yeah.
They pick up the phone when I call.
Yeah. They're like, hey.
Who would have thought that worked?
Old school principles, right?
Oh man, that's like, I feel like that's the huge disconnect in everything nowadays. It's just everything's just a transaction. It feels like.
I think we work similar as far as personal relationships here, though.
I mean, I feel like it's the only thing that we've ever known.
Yeah.
We've never had the opportunity to have like these like
to pay for something to
transactional type of leads or anything. Like Well, we never tried it for one, so probably won't ever. So, but yeah, I mean that's been our experience.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, when I first met you, Matt, it was 100% more about the relationship. In fact, I didn't think you ever collected enough money for.
I probably did. So today, no, the funny thing is, it's like I was taught that like really quickly because one of my mentors told me really early on. He's like, if they don't trust you, they're not going to actually take the advice seriously, and if you don't make them believe that you actually care about them, they're really not going to actually follow through.
Yeah.
And so it's always like, well, okay. I mean, this is why like I'm really grateful to be in the position I'm at now, where I can pick and choose who I want to work with. But it's still been it's always been word of mouth, I feel like, and there's no shortage of clients. And that's the thing. It's always just been relationship first, because if you don't put that first, it's like they're not going to trust you enough to actually take your advice.
Yeah.
Then people go around, it didn't work. Like, well, no, not really.
No. What's the real reason?
Yeah.
It didn't work?
Yeah.
When you were making changes in your diet, can you remember some of the specific struggles that you had?
Eating chicken.
Oh man.
Well, chicken and broccoli.
Yeah.
So back then, my recommendations were a little different. I think, I was prepping a lot of people for shows, and so it was still some go-tos, and people were excited to do things that mimicked it too. And it was, chicken was still a go-to back then.
Yeah,
it's probably like, I remember at one point it was like 99 cents a pound for. I wish now it's like $3.50 sometimes for chicken breast. I don't really eat it very often. I'm like kind of traumatized myself.
Yeah. Well, initially, actually, probably the struggle for me was just getting in the kitchen and cooking, because I particularly, still to this day, do not enjoy cooking.
I was gonna say, I was just gonna say that. I'm like, dude, I just talked to you not too long ago. You're like, so I don't want to cook anything.
Yeah.
I don't like to clean. I don't mind cooking.
Yeah. I don't mind. I just try not to make as terrible of a mess as I do sometimes, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So I ended up disciplining myself to get in the kitchen or enlist some help to cook. But not only did that help me, but I think it helped my kids at home, because they were still at home during that time, and they saw Dad making some pretty radical changes and shifted the way they eat. And
that's awesome.
My son is 26 and my daughter is 25 now.
Wow.
And I think
how's that? You're only like 35,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. Young dad, started young. But I know when we talk, they will always tell me about whether they're working out or what they're eating. And so I think, those changes I made a really big impact on the way their nutrition is today.
Yeah, it's a really good feeling. Mm-hmm. Not only something I experienced, but a lot of my clients share that same thing with me, especially since some of the ones that were around early on in my career. It's crazy. I have clients that when I met them, their kids were like 1 or 2, and now they're all graduated and adults.
High school, yeah.
No, like adults.
Oh,
now.
wow.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm sure. Well, I'm not. They weren't 1 and 2, but if I go back, how long has it been? Almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So they were 14, 15, they're still
That's
pretty
a-
impressionable. Yeah.
That's a hard, from what I've seen with people, it's a hard, those ages are really hard to get them to change, because they're already themselves, right? I always feel like if you get them young enough, they're that's all they know.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget the time that my dad called me when he was watching my son, and he was like maybe 3 or 4, and he tried to give him a donut, and he refused. And then he called me. He's like, "What's wrong with him?" I'm like, "What do you mean? What's
He
wrong with
doesn't
him?"
want sugar.
Yeah, he's like, he doesn't want the donut, and I'm like,
Yeah.
he goes, "Oh, what are you doing to him?" I'm like, "What do you mean? I don't eat donuts." I go,
Don't eat that donut. I'll spank
I was
you when you
like-
get home.
yeah, but that he just didn't know. I mean, eventually he knew, and then it was over. But but still to this day, it's interesting. Like he has like more of an understanding of, oh, if I eat this, I may feel this way. Like that's huge. Like, so I'm like, man, that's
Well, they're watching what we do
yeah.
more
Picking
than
up-
what,
picking
more
up
than
on
what
the
we say,
habits.
right?
So does that mean Ryan's girls are going to have arms like him?
Probably.
Probably.
I mean, Rory does pull-ups already. Resi does pull-ups.
I know they're little. They're only what
4 and 7.
4.
Wow.
Yeah,
They're pretty athletic. They do Muay Thai. They do Tahitian dancing. They did gymnastics already. So
they're pretty. They're pretty aggressive. Gotta keep him. Gotta keep Ryan on his toes.
yeah, they're a handful.
Right. That's why Ryan tries to work all day. Oh man. So, kind of give everybody that's listening a background, not background, just give them a picture of what you actually do now.
So when I first met you, Matt, I was working for a brokerage, being in the real estate industry, and that was not too long after the real estate crash. 2012 wasn't too far past 2008 when things started. So 2010, the market started to shift a bit back where a lot of those foreclosed properties came on the market, and there was a lot of investors now starting to buy these properties that once used to be, let's say, for example, $600,000, $700,000 for $150,000 here in the valley.
Good time to buy them up.
Good time to buy them up, yeah. And I remember specifically in 2010, I had an investor come. He called me up and he started asking a lot of questions. And at that time, I was working for a small brokerage that was a real estate and property management company. And so he was asking a lot of questions about property management, and I wasn't really dealing with property management at that time. I had been really just doing real estate and loans. But after the crash, I decided I wasn't going to do loans anymore, so I was really just focusing on real estate. And this gentleman called me, and he just was asking a lot of questions about property management. So what I did was I took this call, this gentleman, and I gave him to a lady who was doing property management in this firm that I was working for. And a week later, she came back and said, "Paul, this guy's asking too many questions. I'm going to give them back to you."
What?
Yeah. So he shows up a couple weeks later, and he pulls up in this Ford pickup truck, right? You never take a second look at it. And we go out and look at a property in Lathrop, and we look about 3 properties. He said, "Okay, I'll take that one, I'll take that one, and I'll take this one." And he told me, "I need a property manager." So he says, "You know anybody?" And I wasn't really sure who to refer him to. So I thought about it, and I came back. I said, "You know what? I do have one for you." And he says, "Who?" I said, "Me."
Yeah.
We're gonna make this work.
So after the real estate crash, I was proud during the market crash that I held on. I owned my own brokerage at that time. I was doing real estate, loans, and taxes, and I was proud to have held on to the business for as long as I did. Only in retrospect to find out it was a big mistake. I should have cut bait when I started to see things turn around, because at that time I was hoping for just one more transaction. Anybody out there that does real estate knows what I'm talking about. If I could just get one more deal, and that one more deal didn't happen for a long time. It was 6 to 10 months before that next deal came. And then when it did come, it wasn't 600,000; it was 100,000. So
you're like, I need 5 more.
Yeah, exactly. So we're working harder, doing more transactions, just trying to make ends meet and get by. Fast forward a little bit to this investor who came. I said, you know what, I'll do the property management, and but I had lost my home during the market crash, and I was renting. So what I did was I took the rental agreement for the condo that I was renting, and you know how you can scan it in and then it'll take the text images, and convert it to like a Word document or something like that. So that's what I did, and I whited out the name of the company that was renting me the condo, and I just wrote my information in there, and there you go. That was the rental agreement. So that's how my property management business started.
That's awesome.
Back in 2010. Yeah. And so over the years, we've grown it. Right now, we have over 120 properties. If you Google us, we come up number 1 in our local market. Awesome. 5-star reviews left and right. So it's just that mentality, that never give up mentality. Just when that opportunity came, I took it and ran with it.
That is awesome. That's a hell of a way to start up a new business.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't even, it's funny, for all the times that we talked, I don't think you've ever told me that story.
Yeah, probably not. Probably the first time, because when we first started talking, it was still pretty fresh and young. So still trying to really make it work. And really after grinding from 2010 till about 2019, probably in 2020, just within the last 14, 18 months is when we really started to find our groove, if you will, and just really figuring it all out, finding out what works, what doesn't work, what investors are looking for. And so it's a good 10 years in the making.
Nice. Yeah, that is usually the magic number, right? 10 years, more or less.
Yeah.
There was a good book I read a long time ago. I think it was called Mastery by Robert Greene. I think it's Robert Greene. I have a ton of his books, but basically they talk about 10,000 hours or 10 years to master something.
Wow.
And he goes through and talks about it's basically like a really large biography of multiple people and their stories and how they became masters in what they did.
Yeah, most people don't give it enough time to even see the outcome.
Well, we've seen that. We've been in this industry for so long. Most people in the fitness industry, turn around like few years, 4 or 5 years maybe?
Yeah, 3 to 4 probably.
Yeah, it amazes me how long I've been doing this, actually.
Yeah, the reason I say wow is I'm big on affirmations and getting the mindset right before your day. And there is something that I would read, and it's called Mastery. And it basically, it's a few paragraphs long, but it helps get you in the right mindset before you start your sales day. And basically that Mastery is talking about when you see somebody else in your given industry that has obtained mastery, maybe that top sales rep, and as opposed to looking at them through the eyes of jealousy, look at them for the masters that they are and what you can glean and learn from them.
Yeah, that's a good way to see it.
Yeah. And at that time, I was when I got first turned on to mastery. That was I was in Livermore, and that was probably right around that same time I went out and got a coach. And there was a top producing agent in there, and I looked at her and I saw what she was doing, and my business today mimics hers, and she's on the other side of the hill, and we're good friends today. And so we'll network and mastermind together about best practices and how to build our respective businesses. But I'm wondering if that mastery came from the book you're talking about.
I don't know. Possible. So here, we're going to take a short break, and we are back. But
topic was mastery.
Mastery, yeah.
But I think a lot of that, what you just said, was revolving around who you are around and what they're doing and how successful they are. That plays a huge role on your personal success as well.
Yeah, I think we've been really fortunate to be around some extremely successful people during the span of our career that took a liking to us enough to at least speak into our lives, essentially. So it's like it's funny too. I can still remember when I was probably first starting. It was weird because you knew you should take advice from these people, but you kind of didn't want to. At least I didn't. I think I was a little bit hard-headed.
Yeah, I think it's important whose voice you're listening to.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
And one of the things I always tell my kids is there's safety in counsel, in wise counsel, good counsel, that is. Yeah, so I think it's so important whose voices you're listening to.
Yeah, there's a lot of voices. That's why. If you have too many in your head, that's not good. You go see a therapist. Maybe a psychiatrist. I wanted to touch on something again, actually. So overall, you building your business over the last decade, what's aside from the little, because I know you have you're great on routines and things like that. We talk a lot about that, and we talk about how we feel when we're off our routine and how we need to pivot and change it sometimes because shit happens, or you just have something new that's happening. What else would you advise to somebody that's really pursuing to master what their craft?
Yeah. So routine until it becomes habit. And after that, for example, waking up in the morning, that's a big part of my routine or habit, I would say now. And I put the alarm clock on, and when the alarm clock goes off, jump out of bed and get your day started.
Yeah.
And that's just a big piece of it. And that actually started for me back in 2012. And I don't say that lightly about jumping out of bed because, sometimes when I would wake up in the morning, and most time when I wake up in the morning, you got a lot of voices in that head telling you to hit the snooze button. Hit the snooze button. Turn over. And when that old affirmation was in my head about wanting to die,
oof.
It wasn't really looking forward to the day, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, from just jumping out of bed and having your day set before you is a big until today, till right now. And I'll tell you, every once in a while, I shouldn't say still, but I'll listen to different things in the morning, whether it be a podcast, a book, or music. But sometimes I'll just go to YouTube and get those gym motivations, and
get all fired up.
All right, we're ready.
Yeah, and you don't have to really pay attention because they're just throwing all this stuff out there.
A lot of information,
and it'll just get you fired up. And so I'm big time into needing that daily motivation.
Nice.
Regardless of whether sometimes you need it or you don't need it.
Mm-hmm. What do you do when you don't feel motivated?
When I don't feel motivated, most time I just do it. So I'm big on checklists and looking at my calendar.
Mm-hmm. So regardless, this is what we have for today. We're gonna knock it out, no matter how I feel.
Yeah, no matter how I feel, still do it. Yeah.
Has there ever been a point where you actually didn't follow through?
Well, I think.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we all. I'll tell you what. When I don't follow through, we tend to always be our own worst critics, and we can get down on ourselves, and then
the
we're not careful.
Slope.
Yeah, slippery slope, spiral. And what I have particularly found for myself, because I am so regimented, is acceptance or forgiveness, or just what, I've always found a way to get back on track. So I'm going to give myself some permission. And sometimes those are the 911 phone calls I'll give to Matt. What
do I do now?
Paul, we've talked about this for 10 years now. No, but that's the thing. It's funny because I still get that a lot with just people that I've grown to be friends with over time, and they're like, I already know, but I just need
to hear it.
Yeah, I need that tag in, I need that check in. I just sometimes I just need to hear your voice and hey, bro, this is what's going on, and it's usually the same information because the principles don't change.
Yeah.
But you get into this place sometimes where you just need that extra support.
That double confirmation, like, okay.
Yeah. No, that's super important. Like the community aspect of success, or just life, right?
Yeah.
Like life in general.
Having the support with people around you, that's huge.
Yeah, and then the support of people that actually are on the same page, right? Like-minded in that sense, to actually have, because you can have support from anybody, but I see a lot of, like it hurts to hear people talk about how the people closest to them, they're supporting them, but they're also beating them down.
Dude, it's your own grind. Yeah, it's your own grind, and you have to own it and realize like that this is my grind. And as much as I want other people to buy into it and support me, they got their own deal going. So when I've lined up with the right people in my life who can help me through those low periods, or when you're not feeling super motivated, it's so important to get past those moments.
Yeah, no, there's been a lot of that. So what's some of your insight right now? This is taking a little pivot. I just thought about this.
Yeah.
Like in pretty much where, I know you probably follow the economy. You have to, right? I mean, especially you're dealing with transactions and, lots of money. Like what are you seeing right now?
Well, in regards to the real estate industry and where things are with that market, which I'll speak to because that's where I spend the majority of my time, and probably the only thing I'm capable of talking on, is the in California in particular, in our local market, we just merely have a shortage of homes.
Yeah.
And so it comes down to supply and demand. And right now, there's a lot of equity in most people's homes, meaning that they have, a cash value. They have more value than what they owe on the property. And so I don't see this gloom and doom, a big market crash coming anytime soon. And if the economy were to start turning, let's just say something catastrophic happens, then most homeowners have enough equity in the home where they could probably sell the property faster than they would face any type of foreclosure or hardship on the property. So in regards to the real estate market, it's still strong. Interest rates are low. People who are buying properties today have to actually qualify.
Not like back in the day.
Not back in the day.
What were those loans they were writing? They were
well, at the end they started calling them liar loans.
They were
stated income loans.
Stated income. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Like, I make $500,000 a year.
Like, okay, here you go.
Yeah, with an adjustible interest.
With an adjustable rate, mortgage,
In a couple of years, your 3% goes to 12%.
Yes.
You realize what's going to happen. Oh, man. So when you say there's a shortage, what's that mean for people who don't understand what it means to have a shortage in home? Is it because they're not building any? Is it people are homeless?
Well, they're not building enough homes, and the builders after 2008, 2009 really started cutting back on the amount of homes they're building to not face a similar situation where they get left holding a full deck of cards, if you will.
They got screwed bad. Now I think about that.
Wow.
Yeah. And the cost of materials, the cost of lumber and stuff like that has tremendously increased, where lumber and materials, those can cost more than the actual labor now than to build.
I thought it's already gone back down after it peaked. It peaked for a while, right? And then I thought it went back almost to where it was. Or am I wrong?
Well, I don't know quite sure yet if it's all leveled back off yet. Yeah.
We follow. We got into following a lot of the world economy stuff, especially in crypto and whatnot. What was that thing that happened in China, Ryan? That big company that defaulted.
Oh, Evergrande.
Evergrande, yeah. Did you have any insight on that?
No, I'm not following Evergrande. Doing a little bit with crypto here and there, but not on Evergrande.
Yeah, apparently what were they? They were supposed to build like a.
Oh well, they did build a lot of like.
Yeah, but they didn't finish them.
Supposed to house a couple 100 million people for apartments, and then they owe like $300 billion, and a lot of it they just destroyed it.
Yeah, and then they came to collect. Well, not them. Who they borrowed the money from came to collect, and they were like, "Well, we don't have any money."
Yeah.
So there was
like we borrowed $2 million from him,
and then
he hasn't gave me my $1 million, but here's $1 million for you.
Yeah,
just
So what I was reading about is that may actually impact our market over here because we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars. But like it's
they just printed more money and put it in their market.
They did actually. Well, that's isn't that what happened? Their government ended up.
They printed some and threw it in there.
Yeah.
And, they're probably going to bail them out, but to some extent, temporarily.
Yeah. So what about this is one thing I've been following, and I'm not really. The real estate, I don't really know much. I'm just gonna, I'm definitely not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. So I ask people like you. So there, companies. There's those companies that I've heard that are going around and are buying up a lot of these homes, and then they're buying them at way above asking price, and they're buying multiple homes in certain areas to appears to alter and manipulate the market essentially to inflate the prices of the surrounding homes. I mean. Have you heard of any of that? Like, I think it's Zillow or Redfin. They're like I think Zillow holds like a couple $100 billion in properties right now alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're going around and they're wanting to have the inventory on their books, and it's all capital moving in and moving off of their sheets. Yeah, and so
is it like offsetting their income?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
How's that? I mean, it sounds like market manipulation to me, but I don't know. But is that just a way around taxes for them?
I'm not sure, what the workaround or how that works out for them. But I think it's within their own prerogative to buy the homes below or at asking price or above asking price. And whether they hold them and resell and rent them out themselves or resell them at a later time,
And Ryan, what was the other company that's buying up all the property, the big one?
Oh, BlackRock?
Yeah, what's the deal with that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure what their end game on that is.
I mean, they're doing a lot.
Like they're buying.
They have, I think they just opened up mining in Canada for crypto.
They did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Well,
they're doing everything. Yeah.
Yeah, they bought some of the notes of the Evergrande.
Yeah.
Yeah, they bought a bunch of their debt too.
To buy some of mine.
Yeah, they can have mine.
Here, take it.
Here, you can have it for free. I don't care what you do with it. Yeah, no, those are just all weird things that I come across, and always. It's funny. We Ryan and I talk a little bit about it, and then we're kind of like, well, we don't really know what we're talking about, so let's just ask people that might. Yeah, that was way off topic, but so overall in the market, like what do you recommend people do right now that have some liquidity, cash wise and stuff like that? If there are, is it good to get into flipping homes? Is it good to get into buying and renting them out?
Yeah, I think it's diversification first and foremost, but flipping homes is a challenge right now because the inventory is so low. Yeah. So it's finding those deals. So you're going to notice that a lot more flippers aren't as active as they once were. But that is, if you have the contractors and you have the ability to turn those around pretty quickly, then it's still a good opportunity when those come across. But if you have cash right now, buying and retaining as rental homes, I'm seeing a lot of that happen, and there's still a lot of speculation that values will continue to increase.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I'm all here waiting for things to come down.
Yeah.
Buying some shit up. Oh man.
Yeah. So given the current market where it is right now, I know there's speculation that things might, people are waiting for it to crash, but actually I don't see that happening anytime soon.
I wonder if did we ever find out with the if they're going to have the government shut down?
There was something today, but then also again on the 18th. But
yeah, and I'll tell you what, I've actually taken I'm trying to do at least a 21-day fast from the news.
Yeah.
So you guys might be more up to speed on the current news right now than myself. Yeah.
I really try not to consume any news outside of things that pertain to pretty much the economy.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's about it. Like I won't.
I do get a sprinkle of news, whether on the stocks, or I will tune into mortgage information related to my specific industry. But I'm not jumping on Fox News or CNN or.
I never watch any of that.
All that's staying turned off right now. Yeah,
that I learned a long time ago. Just don't listen to any of it. I don't have enough freaking time, anyways. There's like other shit I got to do. You know? Yeah, man. I mean. So, man, I mean, like you've had this journey, and as of now, like what's the next? What is there another goal right now, or is there something that you're working on?
Well, during the market crash, I had left the brokerage that I was. As a real estate agent, you have to have a broker, and the broker that I was working for at that time allowed me to have my property management business as long as they didn't know anything about it and it didn't come under their roof.
Yeah.
So Remax had actually recruited me out of Berkshire, where I was, and they asked me to open up a satellite branch in Manteca, California. And so I agreed to do so, because number one, as I was paying my previous broker way too much money for being there, and for a long time. And the nice thing about it was they had left me alone and allowed me to do what I wanted to do with my business, which was great. But at the same time, I'm giving them a lot of money to really do nothing for me for the most part. And so when Remax came along and offered me an opportunity to open a branch in Manteca, I said, well, hey, I live in Manteca. I'm going to save a lot more money, so why not? So went ahead and did that. However, the pandemic then hit. And so then everything changed, right? And so even though I was sending Remax a lot less money than what I was my previous broker, I turned around and looked at it and said, hey, it's still not really serving me to do this. And it was that opportune time to start making some moves for myself. And and I started putting my own brokerage together, which is property sourced. And we built out a beautiful location in Manteca.
Nice.
And so the idea for our operation in Manteca is hybrid, where you can zoom in and you can work from home. And when you zoom in, it's like being in the office, or or you come into the office and it's an open, collaborative environment. Most people feel like you're walking into, like a suite over in the city, like a Starbucks type environment, what have you. It's very open, collaborative, glass conference room, things like that.
Nice.
So a beautiful location there. And so right now with the real estate and the property management business, our goal is just to continue to grow it. Maybe kind of start making a move back towards over the hill into the Alameda area, and just see where it goes from there. But we have a lot of interest in what we're doing, and our main business model is working by referral, and that's working the one-to-one relationships. And although you still have the big, the people out there, the big conglomerates like Zillow and Redfin and some of the names you guys were bringing up, there is still that need for that one-to-one relationship.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And people are looking for the people who hyper local in the local area, know the market, know the local market, and somebody that they can actually walk in and see. In fact, today I had a new client call me, and he's in Pleasanton, and based upon schedules, I said, he wanted to meet with me. He just wanted to meet with me. And I said, okay, well, based upon schedule, it sounds like Zoom, right? We could do Zoom, would be more convenient. He said, no, I want to meet you face to face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think even in our industry, we have a lot of competition. or likewise products people get online or just pick up from any other particular store and just kind of scan and go or sent to their doorstep. But a lot of people want that in-person experience. They want to talk and communicate and have that relationship with people. And I think that's why we're here.
I agree. It's funny, when the pandemic first started, I was like, well, looks like I'm going to have an online business. And no, not really. Like, people didn't, like, I did, but they really still really wanted the in-person experience.
Yeah,
like, even
human contact it's been huge.
Well, we see what not having human contact does.
Oh, horrible.
Yeah, I like taking off my shirt in front of you, Matt.
I enjoy it too, Paul. Here, let's just do it now.
Got the calipers.
Yeah, it's like, so surprise body fat testing today. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
Have you jump on the in body?
There we go.
Well, speaking of your, I was talking to you just recently about some of the little changes you made, and you seem to be on a nice little rhythm again.
Yeah, and it was like, okay, you start getting off track, right? You get off track. Won't blame it on anything other than just having a lot of different goals and looking in a lot of different directions. Built out the brokerage over the last 18 months and went under some major remodels and things like that. And I didn't put my health and my exercise regimen really on the back burner, but it kind of did. And because you can only spread yourself so thin. But when I reached out to you a few months back, Matt, I was wanting to start turning things around. And sometimes it doesn't happen overnight, but you keep on grinding. You just keep on grinding. You keep on making it, and you know that it's going to happen, but nothing really ever happens overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple of weeks where you're like, so I haven't done anything yet. Totally throwing.
I've been thinking about it.
No.
Well, Matt, you see the way my phone works, I don't really check my messages that often. Can't do a tag in right now.
Oh, it says red. No. Oh man, no, I'm just glad to see. It's funny. It's like I said, I've known you for so long to watch you start where you were and then progress, and then it's always your peaks and valleys, and it's just great to see that you're doing amazing.
I appreciate that. Yeah, most importantly, like going back to that 3 months ago and where I am today, you just keep on looking for that motivation. And for me in particular, I probably have like a 10-pound range where fluctuation. When I get to that top of the 10 pounds, I'm feeling uncomfortable. And as much as I would love to just let it all go and just you can't. I just don't feel comfortable doing that. So.
Work too hard.
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel like there's a correlation with your general success with also putting your health first?
100%. 100%. Yeah. The way my day starts in the gym, starts in the kitchen and in the gym, and that's where my entire day is laid out.
Just get your mind and your body right, and just keep on trucking.
100%. Yeah.
There's just been a huge consistency amongst a lot of the successful people I know. It always goes back to that. I mean, you don't need to be a freaking professional athlete, or you don't need to have rippling, abs or anything like that. But it's that prioritization of well, let's be honest, like putting yourself first, period.
Yeah, putting yourself first at the beginning of the day and then at the end of the day. So my sleep regimen is really important to me. Being able to shut down at least, no technology for the last hour of the day. Mentioned I'm not watching news right now. I'm not watching Netflix right now.
Oh, there you go.
I felt, for a little while there, I felt like I had to go home and 7 o'clock, watch something because that's the way I unwind. I don't have cable television the only thing I have is Netflix and maybe Amazon Prime or something like that.
As long as you're chilling, you're okay. You
Yeah.
don't need the Netflix part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
turn that off and just at the end of the day, just find a way to kind of recap, whether it's just getting to reading a book or journaling or whatever it might be. But the beginning and the end of the day are really important for what happens in the middle of the part of the day.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's great advice.
Well, where can people find you, sir?
Well, you can if you put my name out there. Hopefully, I'll pop up there. But propertysourced.com is our website, and that's with a D at the end, propertysourced.com, or we're in Manteca, and our main priority with the real estate and property management business is positively impacting our clients' lives, and that's helping them with whatever their goals are that is in relation to real estate. But when people are transacting through real estate, they're usually going through some type of life transition.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah. People are getting married. It might be a newly married couple. Those are the good cases. But a lot of times, people are getting divorced.
Yeah.
Somebody died.
Starting a family.
Yeah.
With more space.
Yeah. So we love it when they're starting the family, because those get to be fun type of situations.
Yeah. Other ones are ugly.
But from what I've learned, and is that going through a real estate transaction is like one of the it's right at the second or third of one of the most stressful times of a person's life.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's an emotional roller coaster. And what's interesting, though, is after the real estate transaction, when I check in with my clients 2-3 months later, that's when I really get to meet them.
Their guard is down. They're more relaxed.
Cortisol levels are normal again.
Yeah. So it's taken a lot of years to figure that out and to understand that. But now today, a real estate transaction for our organization means an opportunity where we get to help a client, in more than just a real estate piece, but really helping them coach and guide them through it.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, awesome, dude. I think we could call it now. It's almost an hour or so.
Yeah.
We've been talking.
That was
for a
good,
while.
man. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Appreciate
my
you
pleasure.
coming,
Good
brother.
being here, and glad to see all the great things you guys are doing here and continue to grow your business and reach to people. And I know you still meet with a lot of people in person, but you kind of have an online thing, and that's pretty helpful too, because like myself, I can't make it here like I used to, but that tag in online is pretty good too. And I'll show you some of the things I'm doing. I'm creating checklists for my meals and counting all the carbs and calories and all that stuff. But
nice.
But after a period of time now, finally getting into that groove where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to nail that down, get it all taken care of.
Good stuff, brother.
Man. Well, thank you for tuning in to the Lazaro Lab. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Thank you very much. All right.
Awesome, man.
Right on. Thank you. Yeah.